In the heart of an enchanting African forest with towering mountains lay a mighty kingdom called Susuka. Susuka was a kingdom known for having the most beautiful women in the entire region. Among them was the most beautiful of them all, Nana Aba, the princess of Susuka. Her beauty was renowned far and wide, and due to that, many suitors sought after her hand in marriage. It was even rumored that men have waged war among themselves, so the strongest will be allowed to solely ask for Nana Abe's hand from her parents. Nana Abe's parents, Omahene Nimu and Omahema Akoto, usually organize parties in their palace when there has been a great harvest, and the hunters also came with a great bounty after staying in the forest for 20 nights. All the villagers were invited to the party, not excluding the rich, mighty and powerful from the surrounding kingdoms. Suitors came bearing gifts of gold, clothes, exotic spices, horses, and many more, just hoping to present it personally to the princess, Nana Aba. Some waited for hours just to catch a glimpse of the princess's beauty and hoped that she would accept their hand in marriage. I wish just one of the princes from the other kingdoms will ask for my hand, said Araba, one of the young maidens at the party. Nana Aba was not swayed by the riches or the titles. One by one, she rejected the suitors who came to court her. Despite her parents' urging to choose a suitable match, the princess remained steadfast in her refusal, much to the frustration of the royal courts. Nana Aba, you are not getting any younger by the day. Come, let me introduce you to Boachiapao. His father has the largest gold mine in our region, said Omahene Nimu. Oh, Papa, I have seen him already. He's not my type, said the princess. And why is he not? Her father replied. I do not like the way he smells, she responded. I could smell something like cow dung on him. Maybe he stepped on it before getting here, she whispered in her father's ear and continued. Hey, Nana Aba, if you continue this way, it will not be good for all of us, oh, her father exclaimed. Amidst the parade of hopeful suitors stood a dashing young man in one corner of the room. The man was dressed beautifully and was standing quietly, observing the princess and her engagements. He tried to get the attention of the princess, but she was not looking his direction. Tepa, consumed by greed and envy, devised a plan to ensnare Nana Aba and claim the kingdom for himself. He approached the princess with the most beautiful smile she had ever seen. Princess, it amazes me how all the men in the kingdom are seeking your hand in marriage, Tepa said as he got closer to her. Excuse me, I am not interested, the princess replied. Forgive me, princess. Don't get me wrong, I am not seeking your hand in marriage, he said with a cool tone. I have seen much more beautiful women than you. Even if I wanted to marry, you will never be my choice, Tepa said whilst turning slightly from her. To her amazement, she stood still and looked up to see who had said those words to her. It was the man who tried to get her attention earlier. Hey you, what did you say your name was again? She said angrily. My name is Tepa, Your Highness, he responded. And you've seen women more beautiful than me? She added. Yes, Your Highness, he replied. And where is that? She asked. Quiet room, he replied. I have never heard of Quiet room. Where is it located? She asked again. It is located in the heart of Dompim Forest. The women there are the most beautiful because they drink from a particular stream that has the power to stop aging, Tepa added. I command you to take me there, she said. Princess, only those that have been born there or are married to people there are allowed into the kingdom to drink from the stream, Tepa explained. Let us meet by the Susuka River at sunrise to discuss Kwaekum tomorrow, the princess said whilst leaving the presence of Tepa. The party was over soon and the princess retired back to her chambers. After freshening up, she sat quietly on her bed thinking about what Tepa said to her. As she thought about it, she began to fall in love with Tepa. This is because all men who see her instantly fall in love with her. But that was not the case with Tepa. This made her more interested in him. Could it be true that there are more beautiful women outside of Susuka? She thought to herself as she lay on her bed and fell asleep. The next morning, Nanaba was the first person at the river. She wanted to get there early so Tepa could start telling her about the magical quiet room where the most beautiful women lived. She waited and waited, but there was no sign of Tepa. She eventually left to her palace when Tepa didn't show up. The following day, Nanaba showed up to the river, and to her dismay, Tepa didn't show up. She was disappointed and said to herself, how dare he not honor his word? She began to have doubts about Tepa and his magical river. She returned home and planned to go the next morning. On the third day, she dressed up and got to the river, and Tepa didn't show up again. She didn't lose hope, but she returned to her palace again. On the fourth day, just as the princess was about to leave the river to her palace, she heard her name mentioned by a familiar voice. The village women looked at the princess in awe as they went about their daily activities. The voice that called her name was Tepa. Finally, she said. She was so excited that she forgot about all the days he did not show up. The clothes he wore was different, unlike anything she had seen in her village. They held hands and smiled throughout their conversation. He concluded by telling her that if she really wanted to see the magical river in Kwayekrum, then she must marry him. The princess returned home and confided in one of her maidens, Ajua. Princess, you are the most beautiful woman in Susuka. You do not need anyone to take you to a place just because of beauty, Ajua said. Thank you, Ajua. I will think about it, she replied.